So, Fussy, if you're able to share the screen, I want you to kind of show them, Fabiola's wheel. You can kind of look.
Okay. So, this is telling me that you're all seeing what I'm seeing. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let me find a Fabiola wheel. Here we are. So the wheel itself is actually a Batman thing, which is why some of the references are kind of weird. But anyway, we go from you need, go, search, find, take, return, and change. And so what we did was Mary and I kind of went through Fabiola and Mom, of course, and we found out what her need, go, search, find, take, return, and change were. And we came up with her need is to find the truth. Her go is when she wounds Syrah. That's kind of sparks some things, and I have more to that. She's got a search, and that is when the three deaths really affect her. Fabius's death kind of makes her feel like a darkened, sort of. Sorry, I got a cat on my keyboard. Sort of, like, what is death? What is beyond this? I know that I don't know actually. I feel like there's something bigger than what I'm seeing. She kind of always felt like death was just kind of the end. And then when it was actually someone she loved, she felt like, that can't be the end. So Fabius's death is kind of the first spark, and then Sebastian's death, and then Agnes's death. I have more notes on those that I'll go over in a minute. Her find is like the gospel, the pearl of great price. She finds the truth through Agnes and through Syrah. So that's her find. Her take is when the rest of Syrah's story and her death, I'll go over that in a minute. Her return is baptism. And then the change is actually, since she's already been baptized, the change is actually what happens to all of Rome at that point. So we also wrote a short character description of Fabiola. She is the main protagonist of this story. And we had some character descriptions that we found, and we came up with that she is the professor, which, let me see if I can find this real quick. Doo-ba-doo. The professor is described as being, I actually have it right here. I don't know why I'm going somewhere else. The professor is literal, droll, and very often a genius. You are logical, problem-solving, candid. You can also be socially oblivious and rigid. Fabiola is actually a combination of two of those personalities, though. So she's also she's another one of the personalities that is actually not, doesn't quite fit this. I feel like she's not socially oblivious and rigid. She's actually where do we put that? Let me see. Fabiola. Okay, yeah. I don't know if anyone's seen To Kill a Mockingbird, but it's Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird in that story. So going into her need, you're disappointed with your life. You feel like it's a surface life. You feel like there must be something more. You have delved in philosophy, trying to find a deeper truth, but it's just left you feeling snobby and like you're better than everyone else. You entertain yourself by analyzing people, especially new people. Part of this analysis has brought you to understanding that some people do feel satisfied with their lives, namely Agnes and Sebastian. You've also noticed that some people are apparently successful but unhappy and dissatisfied. The main one, fitting this description, is your father. I'm sorry, I should have mentioned this before, but also in our wheel here, we have order into chaos and back to order. And this is very interesting because a movie is supposed to be a quarter exposition, half of a climax, and then the last quarter is the resolution. So that kind of fits with this whole quarter of order, half of it's chaos, quarter of order. So the you, when you establish the protagonist, is that's in order. And then her need is also order. Now we go into the go. which is kind of the beginning, the starting point of the chaos. So your go is wounding Syrah. You are finally insulted by a slave who has a great intellect. How can a slave know the truth while one of the finest minds in Rome, yourself, is still feeling lost? You have a natural feeling of remorse that has only ever experienced satisfaction through giving. There is no reconciliation. So that is when she gives Syrah the ring. She just kind of feels like, oh, I hurt you. I'm so sorry. I'll make it better. And she just like gives her a little trinket. And it's like, okay, well, that doesn't really make it any better. But since Fabiola has never really experienced, I'm sorry, will you forgive me? That's kind of her only way of satisfying. It's okay, you made it right. So that's kind of the point there. And then a point that isn't quite in the circle, but actually does need to be in the story, is the whole Corvinus plot. Corvinus brainstorms with Aphra on how to win you for your inheritance. He knows he is too stupid and awkward to win you on yourself, so he hopes that her magic will assist in duping you into loving him. Okay, that's kind of obvious with Fabiola, where she's like kind of way too intellectual for Corvinus. He has no real natural attraction to her except for the money, so he's gonna try to have like an artificial relationship where she'll be kind of duped into loving him, kind of like in the cartoon Aladdin when Jafar asks to have her made madly in love with him, where he's kind of hoping for a spell because he knows that it's not going to happen naturally. So then we go into the search, and that's Fabius's death is the first one. Your dad dies, and you feel like you want to believe that his soul went somewhere. This leaves you wondering about afterlife and what's beyond the grave. There's kind of a thing about how that's actually the greatest question man has is what happens after death. So this, as Catholics, of course, we don't really have very much of a wondering, but that is a very natural thing to wonder about. So that's Fabius's death. Now that's where it brings Fabiola. The next step is Sebastian's death. So if you believe that the Christians are all evil, this kind of brings you to Sebastian's death. Sebastian is to you all that is good. You have a natural inclination to love what is good. When you find out that Sebastian is in danger, you do all you can to save him. When the emperor, knowing that he is good, kills Sebastian anyway, you start to wonder if the Roman Empire is truly a good and divine power. And then you're wondering about that, and then all of a sudden Agnes is arrested, and you're like, what on earth? So that brings you to Agnes's death. She's the most innocent person you know. She's a Christian. Sebastian is a Christian. Both are the best people you have ever known. Why would Agnes be executed? What is her crime? Christianity. What is Christianity? It can't be everything that you thought it was if Sebastian and Agnes are both Christians. That brings us to your find. So we're searching and then we find the pearl of great price. You go home feeling very sad and depressed. You feel like the thing you have been pushing away is what you should have embraced a long time ago. As the professor, you've really studied a lot and you feel like you know what is right. And this is actually a very humbling moment of, I was actually really wrong, and a child knew better than me, the child being Agnes. And that's actually very, that's, the first step of courage is accepting that you've done something wrong. So this is kind of her lowest and yet her greatest moment of grace. It is hard for you to grasp, but you must learn to love what you've been lavishing disdain on all your life. And then we go into Syrah. And this is kind of where Agnes kind of passes the ball off, so to speak, into Syrah's realm of conversion. Syrah saves her life, and Fulvius is angry that he doesn't get what he wants. But the Corvinus plot thickens. Corvinus ensures that Agnes's inheritance is given to you as an engagement gift. You are uninterested in Corvinus's offer, but this event brings Fulvius's wrath down on you. So that's actually, I should have done this. This should be here, and then this. Sorry. Then you go into your take, and this isn't really like take as in take and not give back. It's kind of more your takeaway. I guess it should be called takeaway more than just take. Syrah, after being severely wounded, still takes the time and energy to explain her faith to you. She also tells of her past and how forgiving she has had to be. Um, Then you've been brought into the inner circle of Christianity. Now you are able to see all who are Christians and are introduced to the priests. Baptism. You accept this is the return. You accept the faith and are baptized. You replace Lucina as the president of the Altar Society and the main caretaker of Agnes's grave. The reason I wrote president of the Altar Society is because that's kind of what we refer to what Fabiola's job is here in modern times. She was actually a deaconess, but that's kind of a word that's been perverted in recent times to mean something completely different than what it meant in the old days of the church. So, really, the Holy Father has his own residence now, but that would have been part of her job if they were in the first times of persecution still. Cleaning of the altar linens and then preparing women converts for Christianity and helping preparing people to be young girls to become virgins. And then the change is, as I was saying earlier, it's not just the change of Fabiola, it's the entire empire change. And so the first thing is the Edict of Milan, and it allows Christians to practice their faith openly. And then how it's affected you is now your house is open to all Christian travelers and pilgrims to Rome. And that kind of brings you back to who you were, what you went through to get back to who you were, and who you are now. So that's kind of the whole Fabiola full circle. The pilot is, of course, right here, Agnes's death. That's kind of your last conversation with Agnes that makes really kind of the point of no return with the your conversion. So I made